Great recipes and great Italian cuisine only on WILN 35.
This is Late Edition News at 10 with Ann Gownley. Sports with Beth Mensinger. And meteorologist Joe Garbacik.
Employees of URS in Hazleton were informed that the doors of the facility will close June 18th. Members of the community, along with employees and staff, met this evening to discuss what they can do together to keep the doors open, and it's our top story tonight. Good evening. This is WILN's Late Edition, Greater Hazleton's only local news broadcast for Wednesday, April 16th, 2014. I'm Ann Gownley. URS has issued a workers' adjustment notice to all of its employees that the doors of the facility will close on June 18th. Tonight, WILN was there as a meeting where employees, parents, and State Representative Tara Toohill were able to talk about ways they hope to save the facility. Our Gary Perna has more.
United Rehabilitation Services will be discontinuing all operations as of June 18, 2014. Tonight, County Human Resources met with employees, State Representative Tara Toohill, parents, and concerned citizens at Hazleton's URS. URS CEO Joseph Prangeli said that the cuts in funding have made it impossible for URS to continue with providing vocational services to clients in a financially responsible manner. Prangeli said they have been working to secure new funding sources, reduce expenses, and expand the client base. Two employees that we spoke with say they are saddened by the news and hope that one day they will be able to work together again.
I really do like to work here, and I do think that if someone could only try to keep the workshop open and not have it closed. That's really one of my opinions on this.
It upsets me, but I really like them to stay open a lot because I have lots of friends here and I enjoyed coming up here. And I like the activities that they have. It feels like we are family right now, sticking together to hope to keep the place open.
Tonight we spoke with State Representative Tara Toohill, who wanted to hear from the employees and the parents personally.
I wanted to be here, first of all, to speak to the clients here, the disabled people at URS, because they received some very bad news today, and some of them have worked here for 20 years, 30 years, and it was very hard for them. So I wanted to be here to talk to them about how they're feeling and about the fact that the state and the county has a procedure now where the county actually goes through and they have to care for each of these individuals. There's money that goes along with each of these disabled individuals where they will be provided for and there will be care for them.
Human Services Director in Luzerne County, David Shaweli, spoke with WILN and said that they understand the hard work that is going into helping keep URS open.
I think it's all helpful. It puts what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish in perspective, and really what they're trying to accomplish in perspective. That it's a very strong community, and they really want to help themselves, and it's incumbent on the county to help them as much as possible achieve their goal.
So what is the next step for URS employees? State Representative Toohill says they may have a few ideas that will hopefully work out.
Going forward right now, we're trying to look at what agencies around the county they're requesting. They have to put an RFP in. It's a proposal. They have to have that in by next Friday to say whether or not they'll help and be able to care for some of these individuals.
Toohill said the parents, families, and employees requested during the meeting that if a facility does close, that these individuals be kept together as another entity and still be called URS. Everyone tonight said they, along with the community, continue to fight to keep the doors to URS open. In Hazleton, for WILN's Late Edition, I'm Gary Perna.
State and local officials raided the office of the Schuylkill County Clerk of Courts this morning as part of an investigation into alleged misappropriation of public money. With search warrants in hand, the FBI agents and the Pennsylvania State Police spent 3 hours inside Schuylkill County Clerk of Courts Stephen Lukács Jr.'s office, taking documents and several carts full of boxes and other items. Lukács, who is a senior row officer in his 7th term in office, is accused of allegedly taking public money to use for personal expenses. Lukács was not present while the search was underway.
The warrant would speak for itself. The scope of the warrant would include all items that are eligible to be seized. Of course, any documents or any type of irregularity that I've been kind of using as a kind word that is in plain view would be eligible to be seized.
The Clerk of Court's office was the only one being searched with this warrant. A door and several cabinets were locked and no keys were to be found. Many of them had to be broken into in order to obtain other documents.
With their warrant, if those areas are within the warrant, they will do what they have to do to open any drawers, any doors. They will have the ability to get into those areas.
No charges have been filed against Lukács. However, if anything criminal is found, charges will be filed. District Attorney Christine Holman said the charges may be filed with the state or federal government. Which of the two will file the charges will be determined after a review of documents that were seized are completed.
Dealing with theft of services, and of course we'll be reviewing anything else, any other criminal charges that would be filed either through the state or through the federal authorities after we see what is retrieved.
We've said we will work with them regarding this investigation and any charges. We were informed, however, that he may appear here today to get his personal belongings.
Although Holman cannot comment on the amount of money they believe Lukács used for personal use, she did allude that it could be a large amount. Holman says they aren't sure yet how long this has allegedly been going on, and they will have to review the last audit.
I don't even want to comment on the scope of the amount. I do know the bail account contains hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we are talking large sums of money.
Lukács is expected to hand in a written confirmation Thursday of his resignation as per a conversation and agreement through the Clerk of Court's office solicitor. By Friday morning, Holman says it's more than likely the first Deputy Clerk of Courts will be filling Lukács' position until Governor Tom Corbett makes an appointment. Again, no charges have been filed against Lukács, and documents seized from the Clerk of Court's office will be reviewed immediately. A woman from Schuylkill County is behind bars tonight facing charges of voluntary manslaughter and aggravated assault. Police say 33-year-old Kimberly Hans of Mahanoy City stabbed Larry Quinn to death back in December of 2013. Mahanoy City police were called to a home on East Mahanoy Street in Mahanoy City and found Quinn with a stab wound to his chest. Quinn was pronounced dead at the scene. The criminal complaint states that Quinn got into a physical fight with his girlfriend, Linda Smith, the mother of Hans. Allegedly, Hans grabbed a kitchen knife from the counter and stabbed him in the chest after confronting him about the argument. Hans did not have any visible injuries from the altercation. Hans was denied bail and is behind bars at the Schuylkill County Prison. Her preliminary hearing is set for April 22nd in Shenandoah. Night 2 of the Hazleton Area School Board Committee meetings was held tonight, and the question of transparency between the board and the Parent Advisory Committee was a hot topic. Our Gary Perna has this story.
Are the lines of communications really open between the school board and the Parent Advisory Committee? Tonight, Casey Hermstein, who was a PAC member, said since the board and administration stopped attending the meetings, they believe that line has closed.
My concern was if the PAC, the Parent Advisory Committee, is not going to be recognized by the board at this point, how are they going to implement the parent involvement policy, and how can we be more welcoming to parents from across the district?
But Board President Robbie Wallace said the board is transparent and is available more than any past board has been.
Here's what we don't want to do. We don't want to pick one organization over another. We don't want to say one's more important than another. So if you're going to send representation from the board officially to one organization, you have to do it to everybody. And that's not feasible to do. If board members can make it and they're invited, which we're always invited to the things, fine, we can get there. But it's hard to say, yes, we're going to have somebody there all the time. I mean, with the town meetings, with the 2 nights for committee meetings, with the board meeting, we're not hiding anything. We're willing to talk to anybody about anything.
Wallace stated the board is striving for transparency, and every major decision the district has made has come before the parents in an open forum.
Transparency, people talk it, but, you were at the town meeting that night. We fielded every question that was there. We might not have the answers every night, but we'll get the answer for you. And sometimes you might not like to hear what the answer says. I think the perfect example of this is with the redistricting that's going to take place. It's going to be unfolded in front of the public. We're going to schedule a night. Mr. Donati's going to have everything laid out, and every parent's going to know where their child's going before the end of this school year. And when that takes place, we're not trying to send just a letter in the mail and say, guess what, you're moving. We're going to talk about it and tell everybody ahead of time and field all the questions that come out at that time.
Casey said PAC was formed about a year ago and is not technically part of the district. And even with district officials not being at the meeting, they said they will continue to meet.
At this point, we still have a solid group of parents that have lots of questions, great insight, who want to be a part of the team for their kids' sake, for the district's sake. And we are going to miss Dr. Butler's insight for sure, but we're going to try and find a way to move forward through all of this and keep coming to board meetings and asking those questions.
Wallace told us that he's only a phone call away and is more than willing to talk to any parent about any concern they may have. The regular school board meeting is scheduled for April 24th at 6 p.m. in the District Administration Building. At the Administration Building for WILN's Late Edition, I'm Gary Perna.
The Hazel Mini Mart on Blackman and Hazel Street in Wilkes-Barre has been robbed once again. Police were on scene and are now looking for those involved in the armed robbery. Anyone with information is asked to call Wilkes-Barre Police at 570-208-4207. An Ebervale man who was arrested and jailed last year is back living in his condemned home. Anthony Quezada allegedly threatened Hazel Township crews with a bow and arrow last May as they attempted to clean up debris near his home. He was jailed and didn't post bail until December 13th of last year. A neighbor asked Hazel Township supervisors at Monday's meeting why Quezada is permitted to live in the residence with no utilities and running water. Township Solicitor Charles Pedri said that Quezada is only allowed to enter the residence to go in and take things out. The Luzerne County District Attorney's Office is continuing the case against Quezada. He was charged with terroristic threats and simple assault stemming from the May 13th incident. The tension continues between the Cunningham Borough Authority and the borough. The borough filed a lawsuit last month forcing the authority to dissolve. It asked the court to compel the authority to retire its debt, cease all activities, relinquish its assets to the borough, and dissolve itself. The borough is seeking injunction relief to prevent the authority from incurring further debt. The authority is now claiming that the borough cannot take over the authority in an answer to the lawsuit. The authority states that the borough lacks jurisdiction for the claims. The borough doesn't have State Public Utility Commission approval to operate a public utility. The authority also claims that it can't pay off its debt without affecting sewer and water service to its customers. A federal grand jury in Scranton has subpoenaed records from the Wilkes-Barre Parking Authority. Information is being investigated into a contract deal with the Philadelphia-based law firm Fox Rothschild in 2012. The city administration paid for Fox Rothschild for guidance concerning a public lease or the city's parking assets to a private company. Mayor Tom Layton advocated for exploring the lease of the city's parking assets, stating it would generate millions of dollars for Wilkes-Barre. The parking authority fired Fox Rothschild in June of 2012, claiming that they were being misled. The records must be turned over to the grand jury by April 22nd. This is another of several investigations related to Wilkes-Barre City Hall. Investigators from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's Office of Inspector General were at the Sherman Hills apartment complex on Tuesday. The public affairs director of the office was unable to comment on why the investigators were there. The $15.7 million